Hey guys, this is Hannah over here at Trillium. We're here today doing a cooking demonstration for the Guilford Public Library. So happy to be here and supporting you guys. I am a Guilford resident, so I love to give back to my hometown. So today we are going to be making Thanksgiving sides, specifically green bean casserole. The reason I chose this is one, we're a veggie-based restaurant, so we like to promote vegetables, which isn't always the star on the Thanksgiving table. But if you make green bean casserole the right way, it really can shine. Most people like to take canned green beans, canned mushroom soup, and throw it together and that's it. But we don't do that here. We make it from scratch with, fortunately we were able to get local green beans last of the season, so you probably won't be able to get any once it's time to make this. But we like to make everything from scratch, so we'll show you how to do it. So we're gonna start with some butter in a skillet. Now, I'm making a smaller version of this because I'm not feeding 20 people right now, but this is very easy to do in a larger pan, bigger quantity, whatever you want. So we're gonna get this heated up, bubbling, and we're gonna saute our mushrooms first and get some of the liquid out because it'll make your green bean casserole too liquidy, which we want it to be nice and thick, kind of soupy-like. All right. So we're gonna throw these in, and the key is salt. So the salt here interacts with the mushrooms and will help draw the liquid out of the mushrooms and cook them down, which intensifies their flavor as well. And I'm doing this over high heat because I want it to go as quick as possible. So this is something you could make in advance, the day before, a couple days before, have it assembled in your baking dish and just bake it off that day of. So if you wanted to knock some things out of the way, because obviously it's a lot of things to do in one day for Thanksgiving. So this is something really, it doesn't take much. It's a really quick recipe, which is nice. It's a couple things you got to do in advance, like trimming your green beans and cutting them. You don't want to have full length green beans in there. Easier to eat, bite-sized pieces. So really it was just cutting up the green beans, cutting the mushrooms, dicing up some onions, and cutting some garlic. That was really all the prep. Everything else is cooking, assemble, and then you could cook that the day of, whenever you want.
Do you blanch your green beans?
I do not blanch the green beans. Again, this is why this recipe is so great, because it's really quick. I've seen recipes where you do blanch them, but in this recipe we have a little bit extra liquid, so the green beans are going to cook in the liquid itself, and then they also recook in the oven. So you can skip that process entirely, which is time consuming.
I mean, this looks amazing already. Like, who doesn't love yummy
mushrooms? Mushrooms and onions.
Guys, I bet you were here and smelling it. It already smells like magic.
Yeah. Want to know something wicked funny? Williams in Sonoma, it's this cooking store that they have in malls. I don't know if they really have them anymore, but you'd be walking down shopping or whatever, and you'd smell this amazing thing, and it would draw you in. Every day, Williams in Sonoma, they caramelize onions because they have like a cooking demonstration area, just so people will smell it and they'll come in.
Genius.
Brilliant, right? It's all about smell. Smell and visual appearance. You eat with your eyes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close to dinner time for me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this
can have some of this.
Incredible.
So these are they're still pretty juicy, so I'm gonna cook them a little bit longer. You really want to get out a lot of the liquid. It concentrates the flavor. You could cut these smaller. I know a lot of people don't like mushrooms. Smaller dice, they probably wouldn't notice it in there. I like big chunks of mushrooms, so I left them kind of bigger on the bigger side.
I mean,
but
mushrooms are delicious.
I know. My mother does not eat mushrooms though, so I'm used to trying to hide things.
It's a role reversal here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So those are looking beautiful, nice and brown. And they're gonna end up in the sauce again, so obviously to flavor everything. All right, so we're just gonna put those back in the container that I had them in. All right. Now we're going to do a little bit more butter.
this is what a little bit of butter looks like.
Just 2 tablespoons.
It's called flavor, people.
1 to 2, I know. Sorry, folks, this is not a low-fat option. But
I mean, they do say fat, salt, acid.
yeah, it's true. But again, what healthy food are you eating at Thanksgiving? If you want healthy food, come to Trillium during the week.
Yes.
All right, so we got some
I
onions.
that.
And I lowered the heat a little bit here because my pan was really hot.
And guys, if you're walking around and wondering about measurements, the recipe will be posted below the comments.
We're just gonna brown those up. Little salt again. Salt is your best friend.
That looks like about half an onion.
This was half an onion, but again, this was for a smaller portion.
Nothing wrong with a small portion, right?
Yeah. Make this
weekday
dinner. Easy, filling, goes great with anything. So we're just gonna let those babies saute a little bit. We don't need to fully caramelize them. But we also don't want them completely raw in there. Okay.
For me, I do not like biting into a crunchy onion.
Yeah.
Like, not even a little bit.
Not at all. Well,
No.
then the key would be here to cook them a little bit longer. Again, they're gonna cook in the sauce in the oven.
Oh, yeah, I don't mind
So,
it in my food, but if
yeah.
I'm biting like a raw onion, no thank you.
Yeah, my mother is the same. So again, when it comes to onions, I puree them so she doesn't know they're in there. The little tricks you have to do. Good with kids
I do that in my
too.
potato salad. I grate it.
Yeah, grating is a good, that's a good little trick. So we got some thyme here, just a little bit. And we've got a little garlic.
Boom!
Oh yeah.
I don't think any dish is complete without garlic.
No, not at all. So we don't want to cook this too long because we don't want the garlic to burn. So it's literally just like 30 seconds. You'll smell it too. That's the trick.
We need to work on our smell-o-vision.
So this right here is a mix of heavy cream and veg stock. The recipe calls for chicken stock. If you have vegetarians in the family, veg stock is just as good. This is a completely vegetarian dish. Either one works. It's just gonna boost the flavor. Heavy cream, obviously, it's supposed to be creamy. So we're gonna add that in.
And that looks like heaven sauce.
Oh yeah. And then we are going to toss in our green beans. Give it a little bit of a stir. And we're gonna pop the lid on. Small lid, I have bigger ones, but I don't know where they are.
This is called making it work.
Yes. So we're just gonna let that cook for a little bit. Putting the lid on helps them steam without losing a lot of the sauce. It won't burn, you know what I mean? So we're just gonna let that sit for a little bit. In the meantime, just again, because I'm using a smaller portion size on this recipe, you would normally have, I think, like an 8 by 13, whatever size for Thanksgiving, right? But I spray everything. I don't want this to be a hard clean after. So give it a little spray.
Worst part about cooking.
Yes. Spray is your best friend.
Now,
so,
do you have a favorite, like, do you like bland sprays, or do you like flavored sprays, or?
I use straight canola.
Okay.
100% canola. I don't, olive oil burns. Olive oil is really a flavoring, like, after cooking. I don't like to particularly cook with olive oil because it has a low smoke point.
Mm-hmm.
So it just burns things. So I like it for salad dressings, for finishing things, whatever. But so I would not suggest olive oil cooking spray. Canola, hands down, there's no flavor. The butter ones taste fake to me. I don't even know what chemicals are in that. Canola, you know it's 100% canola, and that's it.
And that's awesome.
Yeah. So I turned the heat down a little bit because this stove cranks. My one at home is a little different, so I don't have to turn it down. It's electric.
So home cooks, if you don't have an industrial,
yeah,
oven here or
If you-
stove, like you'll be okay. Just,
Yeah, you
but-
got electric or induction at home. You'll probably still need to keep it on high, but here, this thing, very, very hot.
So tell us a little bit about your background,
I will.
Hannah.
So I'm from Guilford, and I graduated there, and I went to UVM, and I studied food science, nutrition, and dietetics. But I didn't really realize till my senior year that I didn't want to be in a hospital setting telling people what not to eat. I wanted to just feed them. So I did like a complete 180, and I went and lived on this organic farm in Vermont, and I like lived.
How fun is that?
Yeah, we grew mushrooms, and I like lived above a mushroom lab, and we did everything. Like it was wild, like just completely different experience from living here. And so I got like a really good hands-on experience with organic agriculture and just, you know, that way of life and farm to table. So I came home and I was really disappointed that no one was doing farm to table. And I worked on a couple other farms here, worked at a couple restaurants, and it was just like, why is nobody doing this? There's so many farms in the area. Why are we utilizing them? Why, you know, the product is superior compared to anything else you can get. So I went to LRCC and I got my associates in restaurant management, and then I got a little bit more experience working in the restaurants around here, and then just was ready to go for my own. So it was a lot of planning, and the pandemic didn't help that. All right, so let's take a look at this. So we're getting the green beans. They've already softened up a little bit.
That looks out of control.
Yes. So this is a little trick that I do for a lot of soups and stuff, is cornstarch mixed with water. Now, normally I would do this recipe with flour, but I know a lot of people are gluten-free these days. So if you add this cornstarch slurry with a little water, it will thicken everything up the same way a roux would with flour. And then this will kind of give it that creamy consistency that we were looking for.
Now that was creamy before. This is just gonna make it.
We want it a little thicker.
That Thanksgiving.
Yeah. We want it a little thicker. So the best part of green bean casserole is the fried onions on top, right? I cheated today and I bought some, but
That's okay.
it's
We'll forgive you.
really simple to do at home. And if you have anybody who's gluten-free, this is a chance to use gluten-free fried onions instead. So we cheated again and don't have them here. But what you do is you get this into your baking dish. And again, these are gonna cook a little bit while they're in the oven still, so don't worry if they're still crunchy. You're gonna top it with your French's fried onions. All this really is fried shallots. Really easy. But time consuming, that's why most people don't do it this way. And then you will put it into your preheated oven, and they get cooked in there for about, I think, 20 minutes or something. Again, you could leave this out, chill it, put it in your fridge, and then cook it. It would obviously be a little bit longer to make sure it's completely heated through on the day of Thanksgiving. So again, how long did that take us? Not very long, right?
Now, would you go from just setting it in the pan and fridge, or would you bake it and just reheat?
I wouldn't bake it. No, I'd let it sit in the pan till it had cooled.
Okay.
And then I would totally bake it the next, or whatever day you were planning on.
Okay.
So there was a little tips and tricks doing gluten-free, making your own onions if you wanted to. There's so many different ways you can do this, so. But that way I think it's pretty easy. You don't have to blanch the green beans ahead of time. Everything's in one pan essentially, not a lot of knife work, so.
I love it.
Yeah. All right, so come on into Trillium.
All right.
We don't have this on our menu, but we have lots of fall-inspired sandwiches and salads right now. Definitely all a little bit lighter than Thanksgiving food. So definitely a good option to save on some calories before the big day.
Well, friends, it has been so nice to be here with you, Hannah.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're so excited. Again, we are cooking with Hannah Rush at Trillium in downtown Laconia. She just showed us a very, very easy and I guess not the cheater's way of doing it.
Except for these.
Well, that's
That was
okay,
cheating.
right? But it was still quick, and she just showed us a more natural and very flavorful way to make a Thanksgiving favorite. So let us know if you try it. Tag us and tag her
And the
on
menu,
social media.
the
We would love
recipe
that.
will be in the bottom so everyone can try it at home.
Fantastic.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.